Welcome to the Jet Command family. Today, we're taking you on one of the most exciting journeys in aviation history, because in this video, we will explore, one by one, the top 10 most powerful fighter jets in the world. But let's be clear from the start, this list was not made by looking at speed records or sleek designs alone. To understand the true strength of a fighter jet, what if I told you the future of US air power isn't a secret 6th-gen prototype, or the stealthiest jet on Earth, but a 50-year-old design reborn? The F-15EX Eagle II is stepping out of the past to fix a problem the Air Force can't ignore: aging F-15CDs, a shrinking Raptor fleet headed for retirement in the 2030s, and F-35 costs that still won't land. Video transcript. That's the twist. When everyone expects newer is always better, reality rewards what's reliable, upgunned, and ready right now. In the next few minutes, you'll see why commanders are betting on a jet that carries a ridiculous payload, plugs into next-gen sensors, and still brings its pilots home. Proof that sometimes the smartest move in warfare is to supercharge what already works. For decades, the F-22 Raptor was hailed as the crown jewel of American air superiority, a stealth machine so advanced it was said to own the skies. Yet here we are, watching the Pentagon quietly prepare to retire it by the 2030s, long before anyone expected. At the same time, the F-35, meant to replace nearly everything, has become notorious for its staggering cost overruns and endless delays. So when the Air Force faced a massive gap in its fleet, the answer shocked even seasoned defense insiders. Instead of doubling down on stealth, America turned back to the F-15, an aircraft first flown in the 1970s. Only this time, it's not the jet your parents knew. The F-15X Eagle II isn't a relic, it's a transformation. But here's the twist. How could a fighter born in the Cold War be the solution to 21st century threats? And more importantly, what does that decision reveal about the future of air combat? The original F-15 Eagle wasn't just another fighter jet, it was a legend. Born out of Cold War urgency, it entered service in the mid-1970s with one mission: absolute air superiority. And it delivered. To this day, the F-15 boasts an undefeated record in aerial combat, with over 100 kills and not a single loss in dogfights. That kind of reputation builds trust, not only with pilots, but with commanders who need a reliable workhorse when the stakes are life or death. Then came the F-15E Strike Eagle in the 1980s and 90s, a multi-role upgrade that added conformal fuel tanks, ground attack capabilities, and longer-range video transcript. For decades, the Strike Eagle became the backbone of US air campaigns, flying over Iraq, Afghanistan, and countless other conflicts, dropping precision weapons and still holding its own in the skies. So when the Air Force needed a quick, reliable answer to its fighter crisis, it wasn't just buying a machine, it was doubling down on a legacy of victory and upgrading it to meet the demands of tomorrow. By the 2020s, cracks in America's air power couldn't be ignored. The F-15C and D models, once the pride of the skies, were aging out, some of them more than 30 years old. Maintenance costs skyrocketed, readiness rates plummeted, and airframes literally began to show their age. The F-22 Raptor, while unmatched in stealth dogfighting, came with its own problem. Production had been cut short at just under 200 jets, and many of those are already slated for retirement within the next decade. That leaves the US with too few Raptors to dominate globally. And then there's the F-35 program, the supposed jack-of-all-trades that turned into a budgetary black hole. Trillions of dollars, software bugs, endless delays, and spiraling sustainment costs made it clear. The F-35 alone could never carry the weight of America's entire tactical fleet. In short, the Air Force faced a nightmare equation: too few Raptors, too costly F-35s, and too many Eagles too old to fly. Something had to give. The answer arrived in the form of a familiar silhouette, but packed with technology that makes it almost unrecognizable. The F-15EX Eagle II is not a museum piece dusted off. It's a re-engineered beast built for modern warfare. At its core, the Eagle II carries a digital backbone, an advanced electronic architecture designed to plug into future weapons, AI systems, and battle networks without costly redesigns. Its radar and sensors rival those of 5th-gen jets, while its cockpit features massive display screens and systems tailored for the data-driven battlefield. But what really sets it apart is payload capacity. The F-15EX can haul more weapons than any fighter in the US arsenal, up to 29,000 pounds, including hypersonic missiles too large for the F-35's stealth bays. In a single sortie, it can operate as both a missile truck and a command hub, launching volleys of advanced weapons while feeding targeting data to stealthier allies. The paradox is stunning. A design born in the 1970s has become one of the most adaptable platforms of the 2020s. The Air Force calls it old, but adversaries know better. This eagle has been reborn to hunt in an entirely new era. If there's one criticism the F-15EX can't escape, it's this: it isn't stealthy. In an age where the F-35 and China's J-20 seem designed to vanish from radar screens, the Eagle II still shows up. On paper, that looks like a fatal flaw. But here's the twist: stealth isn't everything. The F-35 is perfect for sneaking into heavily defended airspace and striking first. Yet, stealth comes with limits. Small, internal bays that restrict payload, delicate coatings that are expensive to maintain, and missions that burn through budgets fast. The F-15EX plays a different role. It's the brawler that kicks down the door after stealth jets open it. With room for hypersonic weapons, standoff missiles, and electronic warfare pods, the Eagle II can carry the fight longer and hit harder than its stealth cousins. It flips expectations on their head. Where many assumed old equals obsolete, reality shows that proven equals powerful. HQ Scriptwriting 4. Instead of replacing stealth, the Eagle II complements it, creating a 1-2 punch that balances survivability with sheer firepower. In other words, the Air Force isn't choosing between stealth and legacy, it's betting on both. And that decision changes everything about how tomorrow's wars might be fought. America's decision to bring back the Eagle in an upgraded form isn't happening in a vacuum. It's part of a high-stakes arms race unfolding across the globe. Russia has spent years modernizing its fleet, phasing out older Su-27s in favor of Su-35s and fielding limited numbers of its stealth Su-57. Meanwhile, China is rapidly expanding production of its J-20 stealth fighters, with projections of hundreds in service by the end of this decade. Both nations are pushing sleek, stealthy designs to challenge US dominance. Yet Washington's move with the F-15EX sends a different signal. Reliability and adaptability can matter just as much as stealth. Instead of betting everything on one costly program, the Air Force is spreading its hand, balancing the F-35 stealth with the Eagle II's payload and resilience. It's a strategic play that reshapes the chessboard. Adversaries must now prepare not only for stealthy infiltrations, but also for swarms of heavily armed Eagles flying alongside them, each capable of carrying weapons that could overwhelm even the most advanced air defenses. The message is clear. America doesn't just want to keep pace. It wants to keep its rivals guessing. The Eagle II isn't just about filling today's gaps, it's about shaping the battlefield of tomorrow. Its open architecture systems mean it can plug into technologies still on the drawing board. Swarming drones, AI-driven targeting, next-gen electronic warfare, and even 6th-generation fighters yet to be unveiled. In many ways, the F-15EX is less a last hurrah of a Cold War design and more a bridge to the future. Picture this: stealth jets like the F-35 slip in first, undetected, cracking open enemy defenses. Then, the F-15X arrives as the heavy hitter, unleashing volleys of hypersonic missiles and commanding loyal wingman drones that fight alongside it. Suddenly, a jet that first flew before the internet existed becomes the nerve center of 21st century aerial warfare. And here's the irony. Because it's cheaper to build, easier to maintain, and trusted by generations of pilots, the F-15EX may end up outlasting the very stealth jets it's meant to support. It raises a provocative question. If America's future truly lies in a fighter born half a century ago, what other surprises might tomorrow's wars have in store? The story of the F-15EX Eagle II is more than an upgrade, it's a revelation. For decades, we've been told the future of air combat belonged to stealthy, futuristic jets like the F-22 and F-35. But when budgets strained, fleets aged, and geopolitical threats surged, the Air Force made a stunning move. It turned back to a platform first flown in the 1970s and gave it new life. What emerges is a paradox. The Eagle Bahor II doesn't hide, it dominates. It doesn't need to be invisible when it can carry more firepower, adapt faster, and outlast its rivals. Combined with stealth fighters and future drone swarms, it forms a layered arsenal that keeps adversaries guessing at every turn. So the question isn't whether the F-15EX is America's past, it's whether it's the model for everyone's future. If the future of air power really lies in the rebirth of a Cold War legend, then what else about tomorrow's wars might completely defy our expectations? And that's where you come in. What do you think? Does the F-15EX represent genius strategy, or is the Air Force clinging to history? Share your take below, and let's see how the debate unfolds.